You miserable old snagger-tooth jackass. You ignorant old bum. You beat-head old pickle-eyed fool. You are unholy sinner and a heathenish foul Philistine. You bean-eating bear hugger. You a heathen, Fred Sanford. Old senile heathen. I'll unscrew your arm from your shoulder and beat your brains out. You just keep sucking on that sucker. And when I pull your chain, you bark. Woodrow, put that bottle down before I unscrew your wrist. I'd bust your eyeball. Twist his head until it unscrews. I'll get some sticks and stones and break your bones. And the name that'll hurt you will be Esther.
But it's mellow madness, because you will ask yourself the question, what were they thinking about, the angry man, when they did what they did? And then you got to ask the men, what are they thinking about, the angry man, when they allow the behaviors of some of these modern women?
The thing with women with the sign language thing, and I haven't had a chance to see that particular video that Kevin did.
Yes.
But I'm pretty sure I got an idea of what he's talking about. I'm sure he's talking about some form of gaslighting.
Right.
Basically trying to use this. This is what I've noticed personally. You tell me what you think about this.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
What I've noticed is that men, regardless of what they say about us in this day and age, men have always had a benevolent nature.
Yes.
Where when we feel like we're in a position of power, you know, those of us that are sane, those of us that have common sense, when we're in a position of power, we don't try to abuse that power.
Right.
You know, we try to be as fair as we possibly can. And what I've been noticing in this day and age is that women seem to recognize that. They seem to understand that. And now it's like the worst of them take full advantage of it.
Right. Right.
You know?
Right. And you see it manifest in a lot of women, and sadly some are older women as well, angry man. I'm going to ask you a question, and you tell me what you think is true. But is it safe to say Aunt Esther was the original arbiter of sign language? Before you say so, I need you to watch this.
What did we do to her? You mean, what did she do to us? She had the nerve to call us witches. And she was right. You three ugly witches.
Woo!
Yeah.
So was Aunt Esther, you know, and this is gonna be powerful, angry man. This is gonna be real powerful. You're gonna see where I'm going in. I'm gonna guide you. I got you, brother. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna guide you to the promised land. You know, I know you didn't really prep for it, but you're an intelligent brother and you can think on your feet. But I'm gonna guide you into the promised land. But when you think about sign language, I think Aunt Esther was the original arbiter of sign language in modern times. And we never look at it like that, but she was the true arbiter of sign language, the shame, the insults, the guilt, and the need to be right. What say you about Aunt Esther? Before you answer that, guys, get the likes up. I need you guys to get the likes up for me. If you have not subscribed, go subscribe to The Angry Man, but also subscribe to my channel. Hit all notifications. And also what I need you guys to do, please donate to the channel. The Angry Man is a content creator like myself. That brother be sometimes doing 2 and 3 shows a day. I don't know how you do it. but I'm a therapist. I'm a licensed clinical therapist, and I try to get it in when I can. And if you know anything about content creation, Angry Man will tell you it's hard work. It's very hard planning and putting things together. So if you got guys like what I'm doing, share the content, donate to the channel. Donate, because if you donate, then that means that you are liking what I'm trying to do as I bring balance and order to the struggles that men have. It's important, the Angry Man, to support male content. It's very important because there are not too many people that are advocating for male rights, especially a licensed clinical therapist. So if you guys like what I'm doing, go check out the Angry Man, but also subscribe to my channel and also donate to the channel, because it helps me become a better person and it helps keep me on point. But back to Aunt Esther. Was Aunt Esther the original arbiter of sign language? And is she a granny serpent? You know, people think that Aunt Ester was a righteous woman. But I would argue that she's a granny serpent. Shout out to my man Top Gun. He came up with that word, the granny serpent. And that she's the arbiter, the angry man of sign language, in your opinion.
She's one of them.
Okay.
She's one of many.
One of many, sir. Break it down.
What I noticed during that, that's when we really got prepped for that. You know, because they use television programs. You know, it's a television program. It's programming. So what they do is they use television shows and certain storylines and certain characters to try to socialize us into thinking that that's the norm. And Aunt Esther, she was only one of many. You know, you had Esther, you had Florence from the Jeffersons.
Right. Florence, right.
Constantly insulting George Jefferson, even though he was her boss. You know, and it wasn't just her that was doing it. You know, Weezy did it to George. Like you all throughout our, you know, our television shows, especially in the 70s, you had JJ's sister that was constantly doing that to him, insulting him, calling him all types of names and stuff.
Excellent points. Yes, sir. Excellent.
So all throughout, you know, and I'm talking about that era because some of the people that's watching are probably too young. Some of them people are probably too young to remember that particular era.
Right.
That's the era when we first started having a lot of black television programming.
Yes, sir.
And so in that first era, you sort of see that archetype, just like Esther, of the you know, the black women that are constantly insulting black men and that are sassy or whatever. Look at what's happening. You had Roger's sister.
Right.
It was doing that. So
yes, sir. Excellent.
It was all throughout our program. And so, yeah, definitely.
Excellent expose, man. Shout out to my man XL Pro. XL Pro, as always, showing love for the $5 cash out. Thank you, brother. Shout out to my man Drew M4.
That next one is a troll. That's not me right there. That dropped that $4.99.
Oh, that's not you.
Yeah, that's a troll right there.
Okay, I'm sorry, man. Shout out to Drew for the $5 $5 in my session. And then shout out, and that's not the angry man. That's a troll. He said, "I love being a stepdad. Another man's seeds make me happy." I guess he's being funny. That's part of why men are beginning to see things for what it is. Men are beginning to see things for what it is as it relates to looking at some of the psychological abuse that so many men went through in the past. And many modern women definitely is a byproduct of Meta Madness. And I started the Meta Madness series as part of the Kosher curriculum because what it more or less predicates is this: what were people thinking about, or what was she thinking about when we see some of the modern day shenanigans with so many modern women? Listen, Aunt Esther is typical of many modern women. She's the type of woman that bellows the sentiments of Christianity, but her lifestyle does not always live up to the virtues of those that call themselves believers. And you know, I did a show in the past talking about the Christian feminists. Kevin, when he was alive, he often talked about the Christian feminists. And here are a couple of icons associated with Christian feminism. There's some of the young men that have never seen this part of the show need to take into consideration. And you know, many times we ask ourselves the question, why are so many men in a state of flux when it comes down to church or religious activities? And the reason why many are saying that there is no longer virtue that's associated for men. So many men check out or don't see religion or church as being viable. And while this is not necessarily endemic to all pastors or preachers, sadly, many are not clarion callers, but they tend to aid our women in such bad behavior. So let's look at this real quick. These are some of the tenets of a woman that's manifesting Christian feminism, or the carnal Christian woman. She's a woman that has a form of godliness. When you look at Aunt Esther had a big mouth. You know, you would have thought of Aunt Esther was a godly woman, but what she personified never was nothing godly. She was out of order many times. She often berated or more or less emasculated her husband. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Many times the carnal Christian woman, the Christian feminist, similar to Aunt Esther, had the love of the world. Many are very religious. They go to church. They talk about God and Jesus and the law, but they really don't manifest anything that's similar to a woman of virtue and a woman of chasteness. They never fast or pray. They have a level of spiritual blindness. And as I said before, she's a Christian feminist. She has a default setting when it comes down to doing things that are beneficial for a man and also for his family. There's no difference from the world. Many women like her, just like Aunt Esther, were very rebellious, very loudmouth. She challenges the authority of their husband or emasculate them. How many times have you guys seen in culture and seen in the world where many times men are emasculated, degraded, and more or less minimized as it relates to them being men? Another thing that you'll see for many, they have a lust for power. Many want to be the first lady when it comes down to being in church or church business. Many are prone to gossip. They gotta be right. And also they love attention. And so some might ask, why do we talk about these topics? Because many times it's dysfunction that many of us didn't realize as kids. But, you know, when it comes down to anything pertaining to men and masculinity, if the tables were turned and men were doing the same thing to their counterparts, then it would be a conscious and a loud outcry by society. But sadly, many men are not getting the honor and respect that many so deserve. And because of that, many are checking out. They're frustrated. Now listen, you guys have been very tender to this show, and I really appreciate it. If you're dealing with anything that's pertinent to or symbolic of stress or distress, come see me at Kosher Clinician at gmail.com when I can do a diagnostic consultation and give you some answers to the issues that you're dealing with. I want you to think about thinking errors and cognitive distortions, not only that you've seen, but many times that we all see in society, but many times it goes unchecked because there are not checks and balances that will hold not only men accountable, but hold women accountable as well. I want you guys to enjoy the show. Thank you for tuning in. I'm signing off.